Cookies. They're one of the most comforting snacks on the planet. That sweet buttery smell fresh out of the oven, the soft crunch, the chocolate melting in your mouth, it's pure nostalgia. Whether it's a quick snack with coffee or a midnight craving, we all have our go-to cookie brand sitting in the pantry. But what if I told you that many of those innocent-looking cookies are actually packed with toxic ingredients that could be hurting your body more than you realize? Behind the glossy packaging and family favorite labels, some of the biggest cookie brands in the world are quietly using ingredients linked to obesity, heart problems, and even cancer. We're talking hidden trans fats, high fructose corn syrup, preservatives banned in other countries, and artificial coloring agents that could mess with your hormones and energy levels. Even worse, a few brands have faced lawsuits for false advertising, misleading natural claims, and using palm oil sourced from deforested rainforests. And yet, millions of us buy them every week, completely unaware of what's really going inside our bodies. But not anymore. In this video, we're exposing 10 cookie brands you should absolutely avoid at all costs, and we're not pulling any punches. From shocking ingredient lists to controversial scandals, you're about to find out why some of your favorite cookies might not deserve that sweet reputation. And don't worry, we'll also share a few safe and genuinely healthy cookie brands that let you indulge without the guilt. So grab a glass of milk, because this is one cookie story you definitely need to hear before your next snack run. 1. Chips Ahoy. Ah yes, the legendary blue bag. Chips Ahoy has been a childhood staple for decades. But behind that cheerful packaging and nostalgic crunch lies one of the most misleadingly marketed cookies in America. For years, Chips Ahoy has positioned itself as a fun treat in moderation. But when you break down what's actually inside, the story gets a lot less sweet. Let's start with the controversy in 2020. Nabisco, the parent company, came under fire when consumers discovered that certain batches of Chips Ahoy chewy cookies were recalled due to unexpected solid material found inside the product. The company never clarified what those materials were, leaving many questioning the overall safety and quality control. And that's not the only issue. Chips Ahoy! Cookies are loaded with high fructose corn syrup, artificial flavors, and preservatives like TBHQ, a chemical often used in varnishes and resins. TBHQ has been linked to DNA damage and weakened immune responses in animal studies. Not exactly what you want with your afternoon snack. On top of that, each serving packs nearly 11 grams of sugar and a list of unpronounceable ingredients that read more like a chemistry set than a cookie recipe. And if you think chewy or original makes a difference, think again. Both versions are equally processed and contain similar amounts of trans fat precursors, which can increase bad cholesterol and inflammation. Add in artificial colorings like caramel color, often associated with potential carcinogens when made with ammonia, and you've got a cookie that's more lab creation than baked treat. But what's most concerning is how they target families and children. Those commercials showing happy kids and parents dunking cookies in milk, it's all marketing psychology, because if parents truly read the label, they'd realize Chips Ahoy is one of the least natural cookies you can buy. So next time you reach for that blue bag, think twice. Behind the nostalgic branding lies a sugar bomb wrapped in chemicals that your body doesn't need. It's the perfect example of why you can't trust packaging or nostalgia when it comes to what you eat. 2. Oreo. There's probably no cookie more iconic than the Oreo. Milk's favorite cookie, the tagline itself is legendary. But behind that black and white symbol of childhood happiness lies one of the most controversial cookies in food history. From lawsuits over misleading ingredients to dangerous levels of additives, Oreo's story is far darker than its creamy filling suggests. Let's start with the drama. In 2003, a lawsuit was filed against Nabisco and Kraft, Oreo's parent companies, for containing trans fats, which were linked to heart disease and banned in several countries. Although Oreo eventually removed trans fats from their recipe, that lawsuit opened the floodgates for public scrutiny. And what followed wasn't exactly comforting. Today, while the company proudly claims that Oreos are trans fat-free, the truth is that they're still loaded with refined sugars, processed flour, and palm oil, an ingredient responsible for mass deforestation in Southeast Asia. The destruction of rainforests for palm oil production not only contributes to climate change, but also endangers species like orangutans and tigers. So while you're dunking your cookie, the environment might just be paying the price. Then comes the ingredient list, a cocktail of artificial flavors, high fructose corn syrup, soy lecithin, and chemical leaveners. That cream filling? Not even close to real cream. It's a mix of sugar, hydrogenated oil, and synthetic vanilla flavoring. In fact, not a single natural ingredient exists in that creme center. It's completely lab-made. And here's where things get even more alarming. Researchers at Connecticut College once conducted a study comparing Oreo's effect on lab rats to that of cocaine. The results? The rats showed similar signs of addiction. The combination of fat and sugar in Oreos triggered the same pleasure centers in the brain as hard drugs. That's not just a cute metaphor, that's actual neuroscience. Even the golden Oreo or double stuff versions don't offer any reprieve. They're all ultra-processed sugar bombs that can spike your blood sugar, mess with your metabolism, and leave you craving more. That's by design. Oreo isn't just selling cookies, it's selling addiction in a sleeve. So while they may be Milk's favorite cookie, they're definitely not your body's best friend. With questionable sourcing, heavy processing, and the ability to hijack your brain's reward system, Oreos are a sweet trap that most of us willingly fall into. Next time you're at the grocery store, maybe let that black and white package stay on the shelf. Because the truth is, once you know what's inside, Oreos don't taste quite as innocent anymore. 3. Famous Amos Ah. Famous Amos, the brand that markets itself as bite-sized perfection. With their charming story of a small-time baker who made it big, it's easy to believe these cookies are made with care and quality. But the truth is far from the cozy, homemade image they love to sell. Over the years, Famous Amos has transformed from a boutique cookie brand into a mass-produced, ultra-processed snack that's loaded with controversial ingredients and corporate shortcuts. Let's start with the backstory. Wally Amos, the founder, originally used real butter, fresh eggs, and pure vanilla in his recipe. That's what made them famous. But once the brand was sold to corporate food giants, the formula was completely changed. In came high-fructose corn syrup, palm oil, and artificial flavors, 3 of the most problematic ingredients in the processed food industry. What was once a small batch cookie made with love is now a factory product made for shelf life and profit. The controversy doesn't stop there. Food bloggers and health experts have repeatedly called out Famous Amos for its deceptive labeling. While the packaging proudly shows chocolate chip cookies, the actual chips are made from partially hydrogenated oils and cocoa, processed with alkali, stripping away most of the antioxidants naturally found in cocoa. Essentially, the chocolate is more chemical than cacao. A single serving, and let's be real, who eats just a few tiny cookies, contains over 10 grams of sugar, 8 grams of fat, and a long list of preservatives like sodium acid pyrophosphate and ammonium bicarbonate. These additives are commonly used in industrial baking to speed up production and enhance texture, not to benefit your health. And if you think those small bites are harmless because of their size, think again. The combination of refined flour, processed sugar, and cheap oils makes them extremely calorie-dense and addictive. Nutritionists have compared eating a bag of Famous Amos to drinking a soda. It spikes your blood sugar, leaves you hungrier, and messes with your insulin response. Even worse, the company recently tried to rebrand itself as a premium cookie line using imported ingredients like Belgian chocolate and Philippine coconut. But don't be fooled, most of the same harmful additives are still there. It's just a prettier label on the same processed base. So while the name might remind you of quality and nostalgia, Famous Amos today is nothing like the cookies Wally Amos once baked. It's a textbook case of how a beloved homemade treat can be destroyed by big food companies chasing profits. 4. Pepperidge Farm cookies. When you think of Pepperidge Farm, you probably imagine elegance. The sleek packaging, the fancy names like Milano or Sausalito, and that European-inspired charm. They've built a reputation for being a step above your typical cookie brand. But peel back the marketing, and you'll find that these cookies are just as processed and unhealthy as the ones they subtly try to look superior to. The controversy began when consumers started questioning the quality of ingredients used. While Pepperidge Farm promotes its products as baked with care, several of their cookie varieties are made with palm oil, soy lecithin, and artificial flavorings. Palm oil in particular has been tied to mass deforestation and serious health concerns due to its high saturated fat content and oxidation when processed at high heat. And here's where it gets worse. In 2016, Pepperidge Farm was hit with a lawsuit claiming that their golden butter cookies were misleadingly marketed. The label made it seem like the cookies were made primarily with real butter, but the actual recipe contained more vegetable oils than real dairy butter. That's not just sneaky. It's downright deceptive for a brand that sells itself as premium. Each serving of their famous Milano cookies contains around 10 grams of sugar and a dose of refined flour, meaning you're eating quick digesting carbs that spike your blood sugar and crash your energy. Plus, those delicate chocolate layers, they're not made from pure chocolate, but from processed cocoa mixed with sugar and stabilizers to keep it shelf-stable for months. The brand also uses preservatives like TBHQ, the same one found in Chips Ahoy, which the FDA allows in tiny amounts but is still controversial for potential links to immune and cellular damage. It's the perfect example of how an upscale image can distract consumers from what's really going on inside. So, while Pepperidge Farm may look fancier than the rest, don't be fooled by the packaging or the artisan names. In reality, they're just another big brand hiding behind elegant branding, serving up processed ingredients, unhealthy fats, and a big dose of marketing magic. 5. Keebler cookies. You know those cute little elves who bake happiness inside a magical tree? Yeah, it turns out that tree's more of a chemical lab than a bakery. Keebler cookies, known for favorites like EL Fudge, Sandies, and Fudge Stripes, are marketed as fun, family-friendly snacks. But the reality is a far cry from their whimsical advertising. Keebler's biggest issue is its heavy reliance on artificial ingredients. Take their Fudge Stripes cookies, for example. The fudge coating isn't even real chocolate. It's a mix of sugar, palm kernel oil, cocoa processed with alkali, and multiple emulsifiers designed to imitate the taste of chocolate without actually being it. That's right, not a trace of authentic chocolate in a cookie that literally has fudge in the name. Then there's the nutritional side. One small serving, just 2 cookies, delivers 11 grams of sugar, nearly 150 calories, and 7 grams of fat, most of which come from cheap processed oils. And the worst part, many varieties still contain TBHQ and artificial colorings, which have been flagged for potential behavioral effects in children and long-term oxidative stress in adults. Keebler's parent company, Ferrero, which also owns Nutella, has faced backlash for its use of palm oil sourced from deforested regions, a practice linked to both environmental destruction and human rights issues. So that treehouse logo? It's kind of ironic, considering their supply chain contributes to deforestation. And let's not forget the 2019 recall, when Keebler's fudge-coated cookies were pulled from shelves due to possible contamination with foreign materials. The company never fully disclosed what those materials were, raising major concerns about their quality control. Despite their nostalgic charm, Keebler cookies are far from the innocent treats they pretend to be. Between the deceptive chocolate marketing, high sugar content, and environmental controversies, they're a perfect example of why you can't trust the fun brands. So next time you see those smiling elves on the box, remember, it's not magic that makes those cookies so sweet. It's a long list of lab-made chemicals and processed sugars, baked into something that might taste good but does your body absolutely no favors. 6. Mrs. Fields cookies. When you walk by a mall and smell that sweet, buttery aroma wafting from a Mrs. Fields store, it's almost impossible not to crave one of those warm, chewy cookies. They've built their entire brand on the freshly baked experience, homemade taste, friendly service, and that nostalgic feeling of a cookie right out of the oven. But here's the truth most people don't realize. The Mrs. Fields you buy in stores or packaged boxes has little in common with those freshly baked treats, and even those aren't as wholesome as they seem. First, let's talk ingredients. Mrs. Fields cookies are loaded with refined sugar, palm oil, high fructose corn syrup, and artificial flavors. While they claim to use real ingredients, that phrase is more marketing than fact. Their cookie dough often contains mono and diglycerides processed fats that act like emulsifiers and preservatives like sodium benzoate, which extends shelf life but can cause inflammation and allergic reactions in some people. In 2014, Mrs. Fields faced backlash when consumers discovered that their so-called baked fresh daily cookies were actually frozen doughs shipped from factories, thawed, and then baked in-store. The company eventually admitted this, confirming what many suspected: the freshness is mostly an illusion. Nutritionally, the cookies are a sugar bomb. One single Mrs. Fields chocolate chip cookie contains about 250 calories, 30 grams of carbs, and over 20 grams of sugar. Eat 2, and you've hit your daily added sugar limit before dinner. Add to that the high levels of saturated fat from palm oil, and you've got a dessert that's doing your arteries no favors. Even more concerning are the franchise hygiene issues that occasionally make headlines. Some Mrs. Fields bakery locations have been fined for poor food handling and ingredient storage practices not widespread, but frequent enough to raise eyebrows. At the end of the day, Mrs. Fields is a masterclass in nostalgia marketing, selling you the memory of home-baked cookies while quietly cutting corners behind the scenes. They may smell amazing and taste comforting, but beneath that golden brown exterior is a processed, high-sugar dessert that's anything but homemade. So next time that irresistible smell hits you at the mall, take a deep breath and maybe keep walking. Your body will thank you later. 7. Little Debbie cookies. Little Debbie, the name alone sparks childhood nostalgia. From lunchbox snacks to after-school treats, those smiling red-haired girl logos have been a staple in American homes for decades. But while Little Debbie might look innocent, her cookies are anything but. Behind that cheerful branding lies a company that's been repeatedly criticized for using some of the lowest quality ingredients in the snack industry. The first red flag: artificial everything. Little Debbie cookies, including fan favorites like oatmeal creme pies and Star Crunch, are a chemical cocktail of high-fructose corn syrup, artificial colors, hydrogenated oils, and preservatives. The oatmeal creme pie, for instance, contains more than 35 ingredients, many of which are difficult to pronounce, from propylene glycol, used in antifreeze, to sodium stearoyl lactylate, a synthetic dough conditioner. The controversy doesn't stop there. In 2020, independent food watchdogs exposed that certain Little Debbie products contained trace amounts of glyphosate, a chemical herbicide found in weed killers. While within safe limits, many consumers were shocked that a children's snack brand could contain even small levels of a substance linked to long-term health risks. Then there's the sugar problem. One cookie sandwich can contain over 25 grams of sugar, which is nearly the entire daily recommended limit for adults, and double that for kids. Combine that with hydrogenated oils, a major source of trans fats, and refined flour, and you've got a snack that spikes your blood sugar, crashes your energy, and encourages fat storage. Little Debbie has also faced multiple lawsuits over misleading marketing claims. Despite advertising products as wholesome or family snacks, none of their cookies provide real nutritional value. And if you've ever noticed the strangely long shelf life, that's thanks to the preservatives and stabilizers that allow these cookies to sit in vending machines for months without going stale. In short, Little Debbie isn't the sweet childhood memory you think she is. She's the face of modern processed food, cheap, addictive, and deceptively marketed. The sad part? Many parents still pack these in lunchboxes, unaware of what's truly inside. So, the next time you see that smiling Little Debbie on the box, remember she's not the friendly baker from your childhood dreams. She's a billion-dollar brand dressed in nostalgia, baking profits from your sugar cravings. 8. Entenmann's cookies. For decades, Entenmann's has been the go-to name in store-bought desserts. Those clear-windowed white boxes look classy and inviting, the kind of thing you'd proudly bring to a family gathering or serve with coffee. But don't let the elegant packaging fool you. Entenmann's cookies are loaded with the same questionable ingredients and controversies as the rest of the processed snack aisle. It all started back in the early 2000s when health advocates began calling out the brand for its use of trans fats. At the time, several Entenmann's products contained partially hydrogenated oils, one of the most dangerous sources of artificial fat known to raise bad cholesterol and increase the risk of heart disease. Although they've since reformulated, the replacement ingredients, mainly palm oil and vegetable shortening, aren't much better. Palm oil, when refined at high heat, forms compounds that have been linked to oxidative stress and inflammation. But the biggest issue? Deceptive labeling. Many of their cookie varieties, such as the chocolate chip and soft-baked minis, proudly claim to have no artificial colors or flavors. Yet a closer look at the label reveals a long list of preservatives, emulsifiers, and artificial sweeteners that serve the same function. That soft texture everyone loves? It comes from propylene glycol, a chemical that helps retain moisture, the same substance used in certain antifreezes. In 2019, Entenmann's parent company, Bimbo Bakeries, was hit with multiple consumer complaints after some batches of baked goods were allegedly contaminated with foreign materials, plastic fragments, and even bits of metal, leading to recalls across several states. While not every product was affected, it raised questions about the company's quality control standards. Nutritionally, it's not much better. A small pack of Entenmann's soft-baked cookies contains nearly 20 grams of sugar and 11 grams of fat, along with a hefty calorie count that adds up quickly if you grab more than one. And who doesn't? Combine that with refined flour and additives, and you've got the perfect recipe for a blood sugar crash. So, while Entenmann's cookies might look like a premium bakery treat, they're more factory than homemade. Beneath the soft texture and sweet smell lies a mix of processed fats, industrial chemicals, and empty calories, the kind of treat that's anything but sweet for your body. 9. Tate's Bake Shop Cookies. At first glance, Tate's Bake Shop cookies seem like the holy grail for cookie lovers who want gourmet taste without guilt. Their green packaging whispers homemade charm, their cookies are thin and crispy, and their story, founded by Kathleen King in a small Long Island bake shop, sounds like the American dream. But behind that artisanal image hides a surprisingly processed reality that's far from the wholesome small batch bakery vibe the brand sells. Let's start with the ingredients. While the front label proudly reads "made with simple, authentic ingredients," a deeper look reveals highly refined white flour, saturated fats, and tons of added sugar. Each cookie may be thin, but the sugar content packs a punch. Around 8 to 10 grams of sugar per cookie, depending on the flavor. Eat just a few, and you've already crossed your daily added sugar limit. And then there's the fat issue. Tate's uses butter, which sounds fine, but in large-scale production, it's often combined with vegetable oils and stabilizers to keep cookies shelf-stable. That's the trade-off for something that can sit on store shelves for months longer shelf life, less freshness. The result? Cookies that might look homemade, but are actually industrial bakes disguised as craft treats. Another concern lies in their gluten-free line, which is marketed as a healthier option. However, these versions often contain rice flour, tapioca starch, and additional sugar to mimic the texture of regular cookies, meaning they're often higher in sugar and lower in nutritional value than the originals. Gluten-free doesn't automatically mean good for you. In this case, it's just another marketing angle. Tate's was eventually acquired by Mondelez International, the same company behind Oreos and Chips Ahoy, both brands known for ultra-processed, mass-produced snacks. That acquisition changed everything. The moment a small bakery brand gets pulled into a billion-dollar food conglomerate, the focus shifts from homemade quality to mass profit. And like clockwork, Tate's cookies started showing up in bulk quantities across major retailers, losing the very essence that made them special. Sure, Tate's cookies taste great. That buttery crispness is addicting, but it comes at a cost. With hidden additives, high sugar, and corporate shortcuts, these cookies are far from the baked fresh-at-home image they project. They may look boutique, but nutritionally, they're just another sugar trap in a fancy green wrapper. Now that we've exposed the cookies that pretend to be your friend but secretly wreck your health, let's flip the script. Not all cookies are the enemy. In fact, a few brands have taken a stand against over-processed ingredients, sneaky sugars, and artificial flavors. These cookies focus on clean ingredients, better fats, and natural sweeteners, the kind that satisfy your cravings without spiking your blood sugar or filling your body with junk. So, let's talk about the cookies that you can actually enjoy, guilt-free, delicious, and honest. 1. Who Kitchen grain-free cookies. When you think of a cookie that's as close to nature as possible, Who Kitchen stands tall. Their motto, "Get Back to Human," isn't just marketing, it's a genuine philosophy. Born out of the paleo movement, Who Kitchen set out to create snacks without refined sugar, grains, gluten, or dairy. And remarkably, they succeeded. Each Who cookie is made with almond flour, organic coconut sugar, and real cacao ingredients you can actually pronounce. No cane sugar, no gums, no stabilizers, and definitely no preservatives. Instead of vegetable oils or butter substitutes, they use unrefined coconut oil, which provides healthy fats that your body can metabolize more efficiently. But what really separates Who cookies from the rest is their focus on minimalism. The ingredient list is short, sometimes just 6 or 7 items, which is almost unheard of in packaged cookies. Their chocolate chip and snickerdoodle flavors are top-tier examples of how a clean treat can still taste indulgent. And it's not just health experts who love them. Nutritionists and athletes often recommend Who cookies as part of a balanced snack routine. The natural ingredients make them gentle on digestion, while the almond flour provides healthy protein and fiber, helping you feel full instead of addicted. In a food world dominated by corporate junk disguised as homemade, Who Kitchen feels like a rebellion, a return to real food, made with real ingredients by people who care about what goes into your body. 2. Emmy's Organics Coconut Cookies. If you're a coconut lover, Emmy's Organics Coconut Cookies are a dream come true. Handcrafted in small batches, these cookies are soft, chewy, and naturally sweetened, offering a satisfying bite without all the guilt. But what really sets Emmy's apart is their commitment to organic, non-GMO, vegan, and gluten-free ingredients, proving that clean can still be crave-worthy. Instead of refined white flour, Emmy's uses shredded organic coconut and almond flour, giving each cookie a natural texture that melts in your mouth. The sweetness comes from organic maple syrup and agave nectar, both lower on the glycemic index than processed sugar, meaning fewer crashes and less inflammation. What's even more impressive? Their ingredient lists are transparent and short, you can literally count them on one hand. No fillers, no weird chemical names, and no hydrogenated oils. Just pure plant-based goodness baked into every bite. Flavors like dark cacao, vanilla bean, and lemon ginger prove that healthy cookies don't have to be boring. Each variety balances taste and nutrition perfectly, making them a favorite among people who follow clean eating or paleo-inspired diets. Even better, Emmy's Organics is a certified B Corporation, which means they uphold high ethical and environmental standards. From eco-friendly packaging to fair trade ingredient sourcing, they represent what food companies should strive to be: honest, sustainable, and delicious. So the next time that cookie craving hits, skip the processed imposters and reach for something that fuels your body instead of draining it. With brands like Who Kitchen and Emmy's Organics, you can finally indulge without compromise. Cookies that love you back. So there you have it, the truth behind your favorite cookies. Some may look innocent, wrapped in bright packaging and nostalgic logos, but once you dig deeper, the ingredients tell a much darker story. The good news? You don't have to give up cookies altogether and just choose smarter. Brands like Who Kitchen and Emmy's Organics prove that indulgence doesn't have to come at the cost of your health. Remember, what we eat today builds the foundation for our energy, focus, and overall well-being tomorrow. Every small swap, from artificial to natural, from processed to pure, is a step toward a cleaner, stronger you. If you found this video eye-opening, hit that like button, drop a comment telling us which cookie shocked you the most, and of course, subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive into another everyday food hiding unhealthy secrets. Stay sharp, stay informed, and until next time, don't just eat what tastes good, eat what's good for you.